Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 cents.
What up, Dap?
And I'm your host, Scribe, the Lord of Punishment. And hello, chat. Hello, everyone. Hope you are all having a good Tuesday and a good week so far. How are you guys doing, Satsu?
I'm doing good. I went to go see Deadpool 2 today,
And
and it is fucking hilarious.
good.
Everything, like that whole movie, I was laughing from beginning to end. I'm very pleased.
Cool. How about you, Monkey?
I'm okay. A little bit sore, but happy. Got to see Little Butt, and she ran over and gave me a huge, enthusiastic hug and headbutted me right in the Adam's apple.
Ooh.
Yeah, that part hurt, but you know what they say, love hurts.
Love hurts.
I forgot to tell a Little Butt story last night. I told it, not last night. Yeah, last night. But I told it on our what do we call that? A clusterfuck of a game stream last night.
Yeah.
So Little Butt was going off to preschool yesterday, and she told her mommy she didn't want to go. And her mommy said, "Well, why not?" And she goes, I just don't want to go." And her mom said, "No, you have to give me a reason. You have to be able to tell me why." And she goes, "They don't have ice cream."
Jesus.
That was why she didn't want to go to school, which I'm kind of with her on that. But
That sounds like a valid reason to me.
Well, she's going to have 18 more years of disappointment.
yeah, that's right. Grandpa will give her ice cream when she's here.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, Snubbirth. Monkey, I'm still so upset Trump didn't discuss Black Lives Matter with Kim, all those poor black oppressed in North Korea.
There's a tweet out there where some guy was honestly bitching that Trump didn't bring up Black Lives Matter.
I did not know that. Okay.
And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. But yeah, it's a real thing.
I
so
wonder
how are
what
you, Scribe?
Oh, I was just going to say, I wonder what Kim would say if you asked him about that. But
you go, what's a black person?
What are lives matter? What? I'm all right. Today was a nice, quiet, sedate work day. Nothing untoward happened. It was not stressful. It was just a nice, quiet day.
Cool.
One of my coworkers had a birthday, and we had cake just before I left for the day, and it was gluten-free cake because that's a thing around the office with some people, and but they packed it with enough, I don't know, artificial flavors or whatever that I didn't mind so much. So there you
go. My day just got a whole lot better.
Why is that?
They released a 10-minute gameplay walkthrough of Resident Evil gameplay, like the new one.
Oh. Thoughts from the dryer says, it's my 64th birthday. Can Scribe sing normal?
I can sing normal. Also, hi, Irate Bear. Nice to
Bear,
see
what's
you.
up?
Nice to see you again today. I briefly dropped in on Bear and Miss Misa streaming today, and I voiced off Irate Bear's mating call. Substantive.
Nice.
Which he responded to as expected and as instinct has taught him to. So that was nice. But thoughts from the dryer is 64?
64.
And he wants me to sing normal.
That's right. Serenade him with that lovely voice of yours.
I thought dryer was a woman.
What?
Maybe I'm misgendering. I don't know. When I saw 64,
Which one of us is misgendering? Okay. See, yes.
Okay. I did, but
no. Give me my moment because I actually remembered something.
You're correct. You're correct. Sorry, guys. If an avatar does not give me a sign otherwise, I just assume you're people. I think of you all equally. You're all human beings. Gender is not important.
We need to talk about that later. I need to write that down.
Okay. Monkey will write down that gender is not important.
That actually happened in the Deadpool movie. She's like, "We're X-Men," and he like, "You're X-people."
Oh God. Before we get too far into things, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies. Hit that like button if you have not already, and at least 3/4 of you have not. And please share our stuff. I have something out new today, and I know that Satsu probably does too.
Did I?
You posted some highlight reel, I think, of 7 Days to Die.
Resident Evil video, man.
Or that too,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
You did a fan like squeeing video over Resident Evil.
I wish I could have. It wasn't as hype as I wanted it to be because I was trying to be mindful, which sucks.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Monkey.
Dryer, are you out there? This one's for you, sweetie. And a 1 and a 2.
Happy birthday to you.
Dryers are cool.
Happy birthday
to
you.
Well, technically they're hot, but you know, whatever.
Happy birthday. Thoughts from the dryer.
Really hot if you like leave it on.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday, Dryer. I hope you had a really, really good one. I really do.
That was normal-ish.
No, you sounded good.
All right.
I don't like my new dryer. We had to get a new dryer because our old one stopped working. So we went out and we got a new dryer.
What's your name?
I'm not playing that game, Scribe.
Oh, okay.
No,
torture. Irate Bear says that was torture.
He's like Consuela.
I did my best. Wait.
My new dryer has a setting that cools down your clothing, and you can't turn it off.
So you don't like burn your fingers when it comes out or something.
So you can't grab like a nice fluffy towel out of the dryer warm and snuggle in it. I'm like.
Dark Shade, thank you. There was a picture of Karl Marx in the X Mansion in Deadpool 2.
Was there really? That's awesome.
I mean, there's an X in his name, so X. Anyway, he was an X-Man. Anything else to cover before we get into the snooze? I don't lose my voice again.
No, nothing that comes to mind.
Okay. Sorry, Satsu.
Nothing.
Well, thanks for that build up with no payoff.
Wow, you like just completely threw me off. I didn't expect it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we have breaking news. This was just posted to CNN as breaking news before the stream started. It's actually usurped the breaking news I was going to have before, but here we go.
Is ABBA making a new album?
They already, yes, they are, but that's not new news. That's like a month old news.
I thought maybe they had a second one coming out.
Oh, I would not be surprised, but I don't know. So McCabe, if you remember McCabe, it almost sounds like a Western, like just the one name, McCabe. McCabe sues Justice and FBI for materials related to his firing.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I know. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe is suing the Department of Justice, the department's Inspector General, and the FBI for materials related to his firing. McCabe has filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit for documents, including the Inspector General's manual and other policy documents used by the Justice Department to justify his termination. McCabe's legal team has been working on a civil lawsuit related to his firing since March, but has not yet filed such a legal action. This story is breaking, will be updated. Let's see, has it been updated since I pulled it up 10 minutes ago? It has. Let's see. Go down.
I hope he gets it all and it's all redacted.
Defendants have deprived the plaintiff of the opportunity he should have had to protect and to advance the legal rights and interests of Mr. McCabe. David L. Schneider, a lawyer for McCabe, wrote in the lawsuit. McCabe was fired from the FBI in March, less than 2 days shy of his retirement after a tumultuous final months of service.
Yeah.
Good
wording.
Yeah, good job, Cian. Who wrote this? Laura Jarrett. At least it's only one author this time and not like 7 to write 3 paragraphs. Let's see. During the 2016 campaign, then Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump latched on to a report that McCabe's wife accepted $467,000 from the Political Action Committee of then Democratic Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, a Clinton family ally, during her failed bid for state senate in 2015. Though McCabe was not promoted to deputy director at the FBI until months after his wife lost the race, Trump continues to assert on Twitter that McCabe had a conflict of interest in later overseeing the FBI's investigation into Clinton's use of a private email server, given the donations to his wife. McCabe's legal team has been working on a civil lawsuit related to his firing since March. All right, it was not your fault. Okay, who's playing with furniture over there?
Not I.
That was sorry.
Opening drawers and closing them. Oh, wait, that wasn't. Oh, my chat froze right on Dark Shade's donation, so I thought it was a new one. Okay. Yeah. So, what are the chances of success of suing the Justice Department and the FBI to validate their firing of you, which was the president's doing, I think, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
And can you effectively sue the president who has discretion to do such things?
Well, you can sue the government for wrongful termination. It's been done before.
Okay.
And with his, I mean, they did it 2 days before his retirement.
That was pretty dirty, honestly.
Such a dick move.
Yeah, that was a dick move. You know, the allegations of him or his wife having some kind of conflict of interest aside, the guy did serve the country his entire career, and he was just about to retire, and by doing that, he basically screws his pension.
Now, there's also the Inspector General's report, I think is who it was, that just blasted him. So there is valid reason for his firing, but I still say, because there were a lot of people who were mad at me because I said it was a dick move to fire him when they did. But I stand by that because it was just a shitty thing to do. They should have done it sooner. The reasoning is that, well, they didn't have the Inspector General's report. Well, you had to know he was kind of a dick.
Sorry, I made a mistake. Darkshade actually did post another super chat. I just, for some reason, my chat froze, and then anyway. So thank you, Darkshade. Karl Marx, the mutant with the power of starvation.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go.
He might get his retirement reinstated, maybe.
Yeah, I think he should. I mean, I haven't unless or until somebody can show me that he actually did something untoward in his final months, or that there was some kind of weird, you know, conflict of interest or something that he did that was undermining due process. That seems like a really petty thing to do to the guy.
It's only because it is.
Yeah.
But again, the Inspector General's report came out, I think it was the day before he was fired, maybe 2 days before.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have that on their side as well. But yeah, it just, the timing at best is questionable, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, the other breaking news that happened maybe about an hour or so before the stream started. A judge has approved the $85 billion AT&T Time Warner deal. A federal judge handed AT&T a sweeping victory on Tuesday and approved its $85 billion acquisition of Time Warner, a deal that promises to reshape the media industry. Are you still moving furniture, Monkey?
I'm grabbing something to clean my phone. I apologize. Okay. I'm listening.
Okay. After a 6-week trial, Judge Richard Leon ruled that the government had failed to prove that the deal violates antitrust law. Using unusually strong language, he discouraged the Justice Department from asking him to put the ruling on hold while they consider an appeal. He said such a request would be, quote, manifestly unjust because it would have the effect of killing the acquisition. AT&T vowed to close the deal by June 20th, creating a powerhouse that will unite Time Warner's movies and TV shows with AT&T's enormous distribution system, including cell phone and satellite networks. The deal was announced in October 2016. The Justice Department sued in November 2017 to stop it, arguing that it would harm competition and raise prices for consumers. AT&T said it needed Time Warner to survive in a rapidly changing media landscape, especially to compete against the likes of Netflix and Amazon. The judge had the option of rejecting the deal outright or demanding certain conditions, including that AT&T sell some of Time Warner's assets, but he signed off on the deal with no conditions and ripped the government's case apart. Which is interesting because there had been some speculation that if the judge found some kind of compromise ruling, AT&T/Time Warner would have to spin off some of its subsidiaries into their own companies, and it might affect things like the DC Universe movies and a whole bunch of other things. But now they just got carte blanche to just do it whole hog, which is actually kind of amazing.
I don't understand why the government tried stepping in on this one anyway. They've been doing this more and more on any kind of major media conglomerate hookup. And we're just getting to a point where you don't have the small ones anymore. Nobody can afford to do it. And claiming it's a monopoly when there are so many other media companies who have very similar structures is kind of stupid.
Yeah, given the just how interwoven corporate money is with government these days, the idea that you could have a bust the trusts kind of era again is, I think, pretty much zilch.
Yeah, I mean, if something comes of it where, I mean, what, movie prices are going to go up? Eat me.
Well, internet, telephone service, things like that. Because Time Warner does, I think Time Warner does. Don't they do internet in some territories?
I know they used to. I don't know if they still do.
AT&T sure does, and I know that.
Yeah, they do. Fucking bastards.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the era of the mega corporations continues. Let's see, what two giant companies should merge into one big entity next? I wonder.
Hostess and Weight Watchers.
Microsoft and Apple.
Oh, that'll never happen.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying that, like at the point at which there's nothing left to acquire, what do you acquire but the absolute competition?
I thought Sprint was going to get T-Mobile for a while, but a bunch of people stepped in and made sure that didn't happen. I'm like, if Sprint gets their hands on T-Mobile, it is over for everybody involved. Yeah. So yeah, do not let that happen unless you just want to go out of business.
I think if it came down to it, I think it would be Apple acquiring Microsoft at this stage of the game. Like I'm talking like in like this is complete fantasy land, but I think Apple probably has a better overall public image and sort of value, I guess, publicly than Microsoft does these days.
Public image, maybe. I don't know about value.
Yeah, it depends on what part of the market you're looking at, because everybody damn near's got a PC, but not a lot of people have a Mac. And then if you look at it phone wise, yes, not a lot of people have like Microsoft phones or whatever. But I don't think the iPhone market is outplaying the PC market.
Jack Gunsky says Intel and Lay's one-stop shopping for chips. Har 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 har.
Intel and Lay's.
And the last story I had pulled up was something that's been sort of percolating for a while now, actually. There was a lawsuit filed by CNN and others to get Puerto Rico's numbers on the death toll that Hurricane Maria inflicted. And the Puerto Rican government had been refraining from releasing information on exactly how bad the damage was in death toll and such. And so the government was sued to release that information. And apparently now they have just turned it over. Puerto Rico releases records of deaths since Hurricane Maria to CNN and another news organization. Okay, the Puerto Rican government on Tuesday released to CNN and another news organization. I guess it has to be somebody who's competing with them. They don't want to name them or something. A database of information on all deaths that occurred after Hurricane Maria, which pummeled the U.S. Commonwealth on September 20th. Officials had attempted to stall on the delivery of this information, filing a motion on Monday asking a court to vacate a requirement that the data be delivered by Tuesday. A judge rejected that motion, and officials on Tuesday turned over a database containing information on all of the thousands of people who died in Puerto Rico after the storm. Additionally, officials said they plan to make Additionally, officials said they plan to make 24,000 death certificates available within 5 business days.
That's a lot.
I did not know the number was that high. They plan to make 1,000 of those death certificates available to journalists on Tuesday. CNN and the Center for Investigative Journalism in Puerto Rico sued the Puerto Rican government in February for death certificates and other records following Hurricane Maria. Does that mean the 24,000 death certificates are attributed to Hurricane Maria, or do there's people that have died during and since? Because
it sounds like during and since.
Okay, because that's a high number if it's like if it was like from. The network intends to post all the names online in a searchable database and ask its audience to help investigate which of the deaths were related to the storm. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Puerto Rico's official toll from the storm is only 64 dead. Evidence suggests many times that number of people may have died in the storm and its chaotic aftermath. It may never be possible to know the actual toll for Hurricane Maria, but this data would yield new clarity about who died in the protracted aftermath of the storm. Millions remained without power in Puerto Rico for months, far longer than other recent U.S. storms. The Puerto Rican government had argued much of this documentation should be kept secret out of concern for the privacy of people who died in the aftermath of the hurricane. While his government fought in court to keep the records private, Puerto Rican Governor Ricardo Rossello argued publicly that Commonwealth authorities were promoting transparency, telling CNN there would be, quote, hell to pay if records were withheld. So there you go.
What's the point?
I'm still not quite sure I understand. Well, I mean, so they're concerned about privacy and such for releasing death records. And
well, I get that from their side. I don't understand why. Okay, we want a death toll. Okay, why?
To have an accurate reporting of what the aftermath was or something. I mean, it'd be weird. It would cause a question to arise why a government would balk on providing that information in any natural disaster, really.
I get that. I think the only reason to bring it up though is politics. It's not like they're going to bring these people back to life, and it's really hard to say what killed them.
Well,
if you're talking about the aftermath and you don't have the actual reports of how they died, I don't understand what it does.
It might be a reflection of like how well prepared the place was for such an event, or if there are, questions about infrastructure problems, if that many people died, or the safety issues the government took into consideration ahead of or during the storm and things like that. I mean, there are some relevant things that could stem out of knowing the scope of the damage. So I can kind of see why it would be relevant in different places. Thank you, Diesel Dave. Why don't we just make it a state already? Well, Puerto Rico, they've been trying for years. They came. Well, I know their government declared that they wanted to or something not too long ago. But yeah, I don't know.
Because they want our money, but not our name.
Yeah, something like that.
It's what it boils down to. They like being protected by us and getting that sweet hurricane relief, but yeah, they don't want to actually be considered a state.
There was I forget what it was called. There was a movie made several years ago, some political thriller thing that was based on the notion that Canada joined the United States and the Canadian provinces all became states of the U.S. And that the first Canadian president of the United States was elected, and that was the premise of the whole movie. That was really weird. Adding a state to the union, you think we'll ever get to that point again?
I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know. Maybe.
Thank you, Sanguine. CNN accurate reporting? Tell me more about this original copy. Yeah, I know. It's like they're fighting for like facts and figures and stuff. I'm kidding a little bit. I mean, I don't think CNN's quite that out of touch, but in this case, at least, I guess it was more, why would you be hiding something that's so commonly reported by governments that cause them to sue? So
I'm going to go way out on a limb and say that we will see a CNN headline soon that tells us Donald Trump killed 24,000 people in Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What else do we have? Actually, I guess there is something else that happened today. CNN's calling this breaking news. I guess this is more like Weibo Jones territory of story because it deals with Greece.
Oh.
Macedonia reaches name change deal with Greece. If you're planning to travel to Macedonia to see its beautiful scenery and historic destinations, it might be good to check the exact name of the country before you leave. That is because the Balkan nation will hold a popular vote in a referendum later this year to officially change its name to the Northern Republic of Macedonia. The move is part of a plan to resolve long-standing tensions between the country and its neighbor to the south, Greece. Zoran Zaev, the Prime Minister of Macedonia, and Alexis Tsipras, the Prime Minister of Greece, both agreed to the deal on Monday. The issue goes back a couple of decades, and here's how it got started. When Macedonia peacefully gained independence from Yugoslavia in 1991, Greece balked at the name, saying it implied territorial ambitions towards Greece. As it happens, Greece also has a region called Macedonia. It's in the northern mountainous part of the country and includes Greece's second largest city, Thessaloniki, if I say that right, and ancient Philippi, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The United Nations has been calling it the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. In addition to causing confusion, the similar names have been a stumbling block for the nation of Macedonia to join the European Union because of Greece's objections. This is all like international pettiness to me, but whatever.
Sounds like.
On Twitter, Zaev said the deal preserved the Macedonian ethnic and cultural identity. Both its language and people would continue to be known as Macedonian, he said. Tsipras, the Greece prime minister, I guess, tweeted, quote, "It is finally ending a conflict that undermines stability in our region and opens a window in the future. A window of solidarity, friendship, and cooperation, prosperity, and co-development among our peoples." A name was doing all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, there you go. What's in a name? I guess that.
Huh.
Is Irate Bear going to sleep? Bye, Bear. Hope you sleep well. Get good hibernation. Other than that, exciting news. That's all the news that I had pulled up. There are some primaries taking place right now in Virginia. And where else? Polls close as 5 states hold primaries. What do we got? Trying to see if they give me a list. Oh, stop talking, CNN. I don't want to hear your thing. Okay, Virginia's got a primary going. Who else? They said 5. They're not listing them. Okay. Well, anyway. Yeah, so if you care about Virginia's Senate race right now, Stewart, whoever Stewart is, Corey Stewart, the bombastic conservative who built his public image on championing Confederate symbols, will win the Republican Senate nomination in Virginia. Well, there you go. In the Democratic House, you've got Wexton, whoever that is, Spanberger, and Luria, or Lurla. Okay, anyway. So there's excitement, I guess. Let me see if there's anything else before we get on to MSS News. Oh, right. I saw this. If somebody already posted this to MSS News, I apologize, but I saw this headline and it just caught my attention. Is somebody snoring?
Satsu, you awake over there? Did Satsu fall asleep?
I swear to God, it sounds like he's snoring.
Satsu. Hey, Satsu. I think he's asleep. Are you asleep?
No, hold on.
Okay.
What is going on? No, I mean, like I was talking there, and I heard this
Yeah, that's what
kind
I
of
heard.
noise, and I thought the first time or so, I just thought, okay, it's just noise, people, whatever. But after like the third or fourth time, I was like, is he asleep?
Satsu passed out on us, y'all.
This is what you get for staying up late all night and playing video games and doing nothing else.
Yeah, Satsu.
Are you still with us, Satsu?
He said he'd be right back.
Okay, all right, just making sure he didn't. Okay. Well, anyway, if he fell asleep, I don't see how we can avoid griefing him for the rest of time.
Oh yeah, he would have earned it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. An American Celt says he needs a Dr. Pepper. Yes. Oh, open a Dr. Pepper? No. Yeah, that would wake him up. Yeah. No. I had my Dr. Pepper earlier. I don't have one right now. So, anyway, all that aside, the headline that caught my eye was this: a police chief is accused of framing 4 crimes on a teen so he could claim a 100% burglary clearance rate.
What?
If this is true. Okay, the police chief of Biscayne Park had a problem. The tiny, he's a Florida man. Oh, excellent. The tiny Miami village of just over 3,000 people had a near perfect burglary clearance rate, a fine achievement for any police force. But he had 4 unsolved burglaries on his hands. So, say prosecutors, Chief Raimundo Atesaniano, if I'm saying that correctly, and 2 officers hatched a plan. They allegedly framed the burglaries on a 16-year-old. On Monday, the Justice Department announced that it had indicted Atesaniano and patrol officers Charlie Deub and Raul Fernandez for conspiring to violate a juvenile's civil rights by intentionally making a false arrest. In the indictment, the teen is referred only as TD. Prosecutors say Atesaniano directed the officers to arrest TD in June 2013 and charge him with unsolved burglaries at 4 homes, quote, knowing that there was no evidence and no lawful basis to support such charges. The next month, the chief went to a Biscayne Park City Council meeting and announced that his department had a 100% clearance rate for burglaries. Quote, the existence of this fictitious 100% clearance rate of reported burglaries was used by Atesaniano to gain favor with elected officials and concerned citizens, the indictment said. The Miami-Dade State's Attorney's Office and U.S. Attorney's Office worked the case together. Atesaniano abruptly resigned in early 2014, the Miami Herald reported. He made an initial court appearance on June 11th, and his arraignment is set for June 25th. Atesaniano's lawyer, Neil Schuster, declined to comment on the case to CNN. The 2 officers are no longer with the department either. They have court appearances later in the month. It's unclear whether they have retained lawyers. If convicted, the chief and the officers each face a maximum sentence of 11 years in prison.
Sanguine saying you missed a super chat there.
I probably did. It's a $2 one, of course. Thank you, Gregory Hurst. The new name, the AT&T Republic of Macedonia. Yeah.
And did you get the one above that from Sanguine?
Obviously not. Thank you, Sanguine. Oh, yes, they named it Macedonia to go all Alexander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Those $2 ones, they don't give me any notice, and I'm flipping through tabs and things. I apologize.
And real quick, did you get the... Oh,
I'm back.
Sleepy's back.
Did I get the what now?
The one from Diesel Dave that says, I don't see why not. Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry, I didn't. God damn it. Sorry, Diesel Dave. I don't see why not. Scribe Hawaii was in 59. Yeah, I mean, but, there's only so... Puerto Rico... There's a lot of politics around Puerto Rico and bringing into the Union.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diesel Dave. How many other people has he done this to?
Exactly. That is an excellent question, and it's going to taint every prosecution he's had in this.
Yeah. Anyone who has ever been convicted or charged or whatever under that chief now has a completely justifiable reason to challenge the evidence against them, even if they've served their sentence in the past to get their conviction expunged. So yeah, that's what happens when one of these, whether it's I remember there was a story about a lab technician at some DNA testing office or something who screwed up a bunch of tests or made a bunch of guesses and things, and like every case she was ever involved with had to be retried, basically. Thank you, Terry Diamantis. Just because Scribe doesn't like $2 donations. No. It's not that. It's that Google will not tell me when they show up if the chat happens to push it past my site when I'm looking at another story.
Yeah, they need to put it at the top instead of treating it like a second-class donation. Put it at the top because it's a donation and deserves to be up there. Sorry, Satsu?
Yes.
Are you okay over there?
I'm good.
Did you fall asleep?
I did.
Yes, he did.
Good, man. Like seriously, I have been doing so much shit lately, and I really have not been sleeping. And when me and Squishy went to the movies, we walked there and walked back, and I'm just sitting here. I was playing. I streamed 7 Days to Die with T earlier, and I barely held on during that stream. And then I'm like, all right, I'm ready for this. I'm sitting here. I'm cool, and I don't know. My soul just left my body for a moment there.
All right.
I'm good though.
Well, I'll tell you what, Seth. If you fall asleep again, we won't bother you.
Oh no, I'm not gonna.
No. But just in case, if you do fall asleep again, we won't bother you. We'll just laugh at you and continue on going.
They said I shouldn't have admitted it, and I was going to blame it on Squishy because that's happened before. Like I had to tell Squishy to go lay down, but I'm like, ah.
So, and Backscan kind of said it. So was it my soothing golden pipes that put you to sleep, or is it just exhaustion?
It's definitely exhaustion, but your voice ain't helping.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I put you to sleep, or at least assisted in it. That's great.
Satsu too sleepy.
So, can I assume then you will try to get a good night's rest tonight? Because
I will. I need to. I really do, because I have not been.
Are you guys 7 dazing to dying tonight or anything?
No, thank God.
Okay, thank God. All right. Well, so Satsu, I prescribe you a good night's sleep after we're done tonight.
Yes, because
Dr. Pepper said
I was going to cancel it. I was definitely going to, because sorry about that, guys.
All right. Okay, so unless there's something else that we should cover before we get to it, do you guys know of any snooze?
Nothing that pops up.
You see what Terry said?
Satsu needs to play 7 days to sleep. Yeah, there you go.
Right.
All right. Well, guys, then we'll move on to MSS News. So if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but we'll look at as many as we can and that Twitter allows us to see. So I'm taking that filter off, which I have to take off every single time I do a search. I can't just set it static because Twitter doesn't want me to. So we'll scroll down a bit till I find something. Oh, yeah, I saw this. I saw that I Think I'm Real posted this or something about this earlier. So here we go. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. Do you guys know who Kat Von D is?
No.
She sounds familiar.
Yeah, so she's a famous sort of model and tattoo artist.
Okay.
She was on that. She was on one of those tattooing reality TV shows, Inked or something, I think. Anyway, Kat Von D stirs controversy after saying she'll raise a, quote, vegan child without vaccinations.
All right.
Pregnant celebrity Kat Von D shocked many people this week when she said she plans to raise a natural and vegan child without vaccinations. The tattoo artist and cosmetic company founder also said she wasn't keen on the public's unsolicited advice. Quote, if you don't know what it's like to have people around you think you are ridiculous, try being openly vegan, she wrote. Try being an openly pregnant vegan on Instagram, having a natural, drug-free home birth in water with a midwife and doula who has the intention of raising a vegan child without vaccinations. She then went on to say that she diligently researched her decisions. Okay. Tell me about rotavirus, Kat Von D. Holy cow. Tell me like rubella, for fuck's sake. Anyway. And then there's a whole bunch of like Twitter responses and things. And so, yeah, she's got this long little like wall of text talking about her decisions. But
so wait, she's talking about like unsolicited opinions, but she publicly posted it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
excuse me.
So there you go. What else do we have?
For the record, you're treated like you're a weirdo because you are, lady.
Mm-hmm.
Can a vegan kid breastfeed? That's a good question.
Oh, that's true.
Raising your child vegan is very, very, very difficult. It is. It can be done. You have to shove them full of vitamins because you're going to kill them if you don't. And I hope her childbirth goes well. I know there's a lot of people who want to do that whole birth at home thing, but there's a reason we do births in hospitals. It's because that's where the doctors are.
I hope the child does not actually suffer anything untoward as a result of their parents' bad decision making. Is it just our fate to have a story, at least one story every night that deals with pooping?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Froggy has contributed to that tradition. Not that I'm asking for it to continue, which of course now it will because I've said so. Kim Jong-un regularly travels with his own toilet.
Whoa.
What?
You just cut out for a moment there.
Okay.
You were fine. It must have been on his end. I didn't hear any cutout.
Okay, well, I'll try again just to be safe. Kim Jong-un regularly travels with his own toilet.
Wait, you can't trust Satsu. He might have fallen asleep again.
That's true.
No, I heard it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Squishy has a conflict of interest.
I agree.
One of South Korea's biggest circulated newspapers, the Chosunilbo, okay, is reporting that Kim Jong-un brought his own toilet to Singapore.
It just happened again?
No, he's fine on my end.
All right.
Okay, let me try again. Kim Jong-un brought his own toilet to Singapore for his meeting with President Trump. Chat, tell us if I'm cutting out because I don't know at this point.
You sound good to me.
According to the paper, the dictator wanted to, quote, deny determined sewer divers insights into the supreme leader's stools.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to check and make sure this is not some kind of satire site. WGNO-ABC. Okay.
Sounds like an ABC affiliate.
I'm assuming this is true. Is that is a statement? Okay, Terry says I'm fine. Boatman says I'm fine. So it's all Satsu's fault. He's fallen asleep. Along with Squishy, they're like in tune. Their circadian rhythms are exactly the same. So
Scribe.
like he fades out, she fades out. They both think that the world's gone dark. Yeah.
Scribe.
Yes.
Behave.
I'm behaving just fine. It's your fiance that fell asleep on the stream.
That's true.
He's exhausted.
Oh, well, then maybe you
stop
should
wearing him out.
But tell you what, Satsu, why don't you take the night off and Squishy can sit in for you?
Squishy.
Not again. That's so funny. He said, why don't you take the night off and then just completely vanished? And I'm like, even the stream don't want to hear your shit, Scribe. Hold on.
Okay, then. Well, the audience is, I don't know. Hopefully he's going to sleep. Anyway, it's apparently not uncommon for Kim Jong-un to travel with his own portable toilet to protect information about his health. Yeah, I can just imagine like some spy sitting in the sewer with a bucket just waiting for Kim Jong-un to take a dump.
Well, that's paranoid to an unusual extent.
Yes, even for a crazy dictator, that seems... Anyway.
Backscan says actually the U.S. president does the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, I heard something about that before.
Okay, thank you, Sanguine. Wait, so now he does poop when they when did they admit to it? Oh, yeah, that's right. The Supreme Leader never actually goes to the bathroom. Well, I guess they have now. Well, that miracle has been shattered. What else? Oh yeah, what was the latest on this? This is actually something that I posted. There was a hostage situation in Paris earlier today.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
What happened with it? At least 2 people were being held hostage Tuesday in Paris. The Paris police prefecture told CNN that there was a police intervention underway in an advertising agency in the Rue des Petites Écuries. I'm probably fucking that up because I don't speak French. In the 10th arrondissement of the French capital. Law enforcement officials cordoned off the area. Videos and images circulating on social media show police vehicles as well as heavily armed officers at the scene. A woman and a young girl were evacuated by police Tuesday during the hostage situation. Okay, so what happened? A spokesman for the Paris police said there was no indication the incident was terrorism related. He declined to elaborate on the hostage taker's motive, but confirmed that someone was able to get out of the building at the start of the hostage situation. Did they get the guy? They don't even say.
That's weird.
That is really odd. Authorities said the officers from a specialist unit had arrived on site. So I'm confused. It says that at least 2 people were being held hostage. So if they're talking in the past tense, it's developing. Okay, this is very confusing. So either he's still holding people hostage or it's been resolved. I can't tell from CNN's reporting here. So
fake news.
Yeah, pretty much.
We have word of a new birthday.
A new birthday? Who gave birth?
Well, no. It's just popped up in our chat. It's not the birthday we've already celebrated, is what I meant.
Oh, whose is it?
Robert Lapine.
Lapine
is let me do the math here. What are you, 39 today?
Just like me.
So, Robert, are you out there? Are you listening? This one's for you. And a 1 and a 2. Happy birthday to you.
Your name sounds like Lapinus.
Happy birthday to you.
My ears are bleeding.
Happy birthday, dear Lapine.
They're not actually bleeding. Don't worry, guys.
Happy birthday.
Losing puss.
Happy birthday, Robert. I hope you had a good one.
Oh, boy.
40's just around the corner, man.
You guys keep having birthdays. I'll never fall asleep again.
So this one comes from Captain Brambles. Added to the file of ridiculous reasons to commit an act of violence. Man gets prison for killing uncle and torching his body during a fight over ATV ruts in the driveway.
It's the principle of the matter.
A Missouri man who gunned down his uncle during an argument over ATV ruts in a gravel driveway and later burned the victim's body in a field will serve 15 years in prison after making a plea deal with prosecutors. That's too few years. Thank you, Incel Casanova. Do you take requests? I'd like cabaret. I wouldn't know how to do cabaret.
Me neither.
Like is a singing style for a birthday? Maybe I'm missing something there. Like whenever I think of cabaret, I think of Putting on the Ritz. That song, that remake from the 80s. You know that thing.
Yep.
I could try to sing a birthday like that. Is that what you meant, Incel? I'm not quite sure. Clarify, because I want to make sure I get that right. Nicholas Prelli, 27, was sentenced Monday after pleading guilty to voluntary manslaughter, armed criminal action, and evidence tampering in connection with the... He got 15 years? That's it? Why would they plea him out?
Get it off the casebook quick.
I guess. I mean, why not just frame a 16-year-old or something? Prelli admitted shooting Fisher on his uncle's farm in St. Charles County after a physical dispute when Fisher complained that Prelli dug ruts in his gravel driveway while riding his ATV. Prelli told police that Fisher had a hammer during a struggle between them, prompting him to shoot him as Fisher turned toward him. Prelli said he shot Fisher 2 or 3 times to be humane, quote, like putting down an animal, unquote.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, 15 years. Prelli then hid Fisher's body between pieces of farm equipment and returned about 12 hours later to retrieve it before using gasoline to set it on fire in a field across from the farm, where Fisher worked as the 5th-generation caretaker of his family farm, according to his obituary. 15 years.
The motherfuckers are getting caught with drugs, and they're just like, yeah, you had possession 10 years or some shit like that. And this motherfucker is killing. He literally killed him, called it humane, hit the body, and then burned it. And they're just like, eh.
So Incel Casanova wants me to sing like Liza Minnelli.
Oh, God.
I thought you had been.
Oh, monkey. That is low. That is low.
Which one of you?
Oh, you motherfucker!
Damn.
You. Jesus Christ! This is revenge for the communist comments, isn't it?
Indeed.
Jesus.
But it's live in front of everyone.
Well, there you go. Good. See what you've done, Incel?
Random American. Real quick, Random American said maybe the judge didn't like that uncle either. I'm guessing because it sounds kind of personal there.
Yeah, that's something else. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. Oh, so what do you think happens when you've got a hot teacher in a school? What kind of story do you think I'm going to be talking about?
I'm guessing a teacher fucked a 14-year-old boy.
You're close, but this one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier, and we'll wrap up MSS News with this one just for the hell of it. And then a video blurts into my ears. God damn it. Texas teacher sentenced for sex with her 15-year-old student while she was pregnant.
Wow.
Well, at least she took precautions not to get pregnant by him.
What the hell?
Yes, contraception by pregnancy. I guess that's one way to do it.
It works.
A Texas middle school teacher who, by her mugshot, is fairly attractive, has been
I want to
sent.
see.
Okay, here I'll put the link into the chat so everyone can see.
Let's see if she should go to jail or not.
All right, there you go.
Good night, baby. I love you.
Well, she should go to jail because girls in prison fantasies are always nice.
That's true too.
Has been sentenced to prison for having sex with her 15-year-old student, including while she was pregnant. Catherine Harper had a months-long sexual relationship last year with a student she met at Tidwell Middle School in Roanoke, where she'd been an English teacher, cheerleading coach, and tennis coach, police said, when she was arrested in April 2017. At the time of her arrest, she was 8 months pregnant, but it was unclear whether the teen was the baby's father. Oh. Harper, 28, pleaded guilty to 1 count of sexual assault of a child and 1 count of having an improper relationship with a student. On Thursday, she was sentenced to 6 years in prison and 10 years probation. After Harper was what?
Keep going. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, for child rape, yeah, that's a little bit too. I mean, talk about sweetheart deals lately. After Harper was arrested, police said she and the student, who she taught at the middle school, exchanged naked photos of each other using their cell phones and sent provocative text messages back and forth and eventually had sex at the boy's home. After she was arrested? Oh, no, this is what she's reporting she did. Okay, I see. I thought like after she was arrested, she still did these things. Now, after she was arrested, she told police that's what she did. Okay. After the initial sexual encounter, which police said included alcohol, the pair had sex either at his or her home from June 1st, 2016 through July 31st, 2016. School officials launched an investigation into the relationship in December 2016 after receiving an anonymous tip because the kid obviously bragged to his friends, because why wouldn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So 6 years for child rape. Okay, good job, Texas. I thought Texas was a bit more harsher with such things. If it had been a man on a female student, what do you think would have happened to that guy?
That dude would be gone for at least 15, at least.
At least, yes.
And he'd end up dead in prison where she'll be left mostly alone.
Probably.
Wait, we can't send her to prison. Yeah, she has a kid.
Mm-hmm.
We can't punish people who have kids.
What was her name that got pregnant by her 13-year-old or whatever?
Shit, I just had it.
Mary Kay Letourneau, that's what it was, yes. And she got like practically nothing as well, I think, at least the first time around.
Yeah, she got a slap on the hand the first time around, and then she hooked back up with him, and she got a little longer of a sentence.
Yeah, because she got pregnant that time, I think.
And now they have children together, and it's a love story.
It's a love story. Well, guys, thank you so much for the news stories. Sorry we didn't get to everything, but we always run out of time, and we had to give Satsu shit for falling asleep. So there you go. You can blame it.
Jesse says Letourneau married him. Yeah, I understand
Right.
that. She also raped a child. She should still be in prison.
Yeah, raping a minor shouldn't have. And this is why we need the Equal Rights Amendment.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, because then everybody would have to pay the same price for raping a child, which just saying that phrase should probably put a certain amount of disgust in your heart and punishment into the minds of those who would send people to jail for less than 10 years for raping a child. But anyway, that's just me.
Sorry, the Letourneau story still pisses me off because Letourneau story. Did I say that right? Yeah.
Sure.
Just because of how that was treated by so many in the media, like this was a good thing. I mean, there were people who were upset that she was getting in trouble for banging a 13-year-old.
Right.
People magazine put her on the cover and actually used the word love story.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah.
It's despicable. And yeah, anyway, sorry. Now I'm getting ranty. Satsu, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. So, YouTube time. Satsu, what did you do today?
Uploaded the regular cycle of videos over on 2 Cents Plus, and then I did a video talking about the information that they released at E3 for Resident Evil 2, which I am super pumped for. And I'm probably going to be doing another one for the gameplay that they showed, because they showed a whole bunch of awesome stuff in the gameplay that I can't talk about here because I won't stop talking about it.
All right. Monkey, what have you been up to?
Nothing.
You haven't done any work on anything?
I was going to today, and then the neighbor was doing lawn work.
Oh.
And when he finally finished, I had ordered a new DVD rack because we have just DVDs fucking everywhere. And it arrived, so I had to go get that, and I hurt myself, so then I just kind of laid down.
We need to get you like a soundproof room or something to work in.
I wish I had one of those. That'd be nice.
It's not usually an issue. For some reason, he usually does it the same day we do, but he didn't this week. So,
yeah, there's a. I have to remind myself not to record audio or try to record audio on Saturday mornings, because across the street from me is like a parking lot that on Saturday mornings is completely empty. And every Saturday morning, a guy shows up with a leaf blower when there are no leaves, and he just blows air at the parking lot. And at most, he blows water around if it's rained recently. And he does that for like an hour, just walking around the parking lot, blowing away, I guess, the dust. But I mean, hey, the guy's paid to do it. There you go. But it's a little irritating. There you go. Okay, so I posted my latest Curriculum of Fear video today, which topped out just over 30 minutes, which I hadn't anticipated, but I guess, when you string 3 clips together and then you add in commentary, I usually, whatever the length of the source video I use is, I usually double that to imagine what the final product is going to be. Sure. And when I saw that it was like 13 or 14 minutes, I thought, oh man, this is going to turn into a 30-minute thing. Well, maybe I'll keep it brief in my comments. No, I am me. So there you go. It is a communications studies teacher at a university of some sort or another. I didn't really pay attention to that part, but she talks about, I mean, the series effectively is called Engaging Social Justice and how to introduce that into classrooms or how to guide students into such things. And it covers a range of topics because they took a long interview, I assume, with this teacher because she's all dressed the same and in the same background and everything and chopped it up into different bits and subjects. One of the first questions is, how should teachers conduct their classes without supporting the racist history in this country? And I'm like, yeah, I was like, and part of me was, are they talking about history classes? Or are they talking about like historical behaviors? That's what the point that kind of confused me, because this wasn't a history teacher. This was a communications teacher. But my first thought was, and I actually said this in my original script, but again, I wasn't quite sure if they were talking literally about history classes or if they're talking about like what they presume to be patterns of treatment over history. And the thing I said was, teaching history does not mean you endorse history. Like teaching World War II does not then make you a warmonger. It makes you a history teacher. But avoiding supporting the racist history in this country. What? And so I did just boggle my mind. And that was really the first thing that caught me when I decided to do this as a video, because it was just such a weird question. And the ladies, the teacher's answers over the course of time become more and more bizarre as she gets into deeper and deeper questions about what teachers should do to help students overcome the oppressive system. And they talk about something called critical consciousness. Now, do you know what critical consciousness is?
Some bullshit that somebody made up.
It sounds familiar.
So I didn't know. I mean, I've heard of critical theory before. I hadn't heard of critical consciousness, but I had to look it up. And I'm generalizing here. I read the more clear definition in the video, but effectively it is a way of thinking wherein, and I might be misstating it, you analyze the hardships in your life to identify the oppressive systems affecting you, to then turn around and try to oppose those by being cognizant of their presence in your life. It sounds like problem solving, but it gets more idealistic than that because it was written, and it is an attachment, I suppose, to post-Marxist theory.
That sounds like level 2 of wokeness.
Yeah, and so I was just like, how do you weave critical consciousness into your teachings? Like, so you're teaching kids to become post-Marxists is what you're teaching? I thank you, Diesel Dave. Maybe his uncle was an asshole. Oh, the other guy? Maybe. Does that justify murder or like a 15-year sentence or something? I don't know. And the other part of it was, Angela Arriaga brings it up too, is that at the beginning, or somewhere in there, she says, she tells us what white teachers should do, or white educators should do, in order to become better social justice warriors.
Oh, dear God.
And she says, and I'm only slightly paraphrasing because I went over this several times while I was writing the script, they have to do the dirty job of living the life of people of color, of walking in the moccasins of the people of color. Now that is a quote.
Walking in the...
I'm not even kidding. She says that. This lady has a real hard-on for focusing on race, specifically on white people. She criticizes the basics of multicultural studies or cultural anthropology, she talks about how what do you teach kids about multiculturalism? You teach them about Black culture and Hispanic culture. They never examine white culture. And I'm like, I remember in school I was taught things about Japanese culture and German culture and Russian culture and Somalian culture. I wasn't taught racial cultures. I was taught national traditions and cultures. And if you want to talk about white cultures never examined, are you fucking kidding me? Seriously? The history of this world? Any other country on the planet? Thank you, William Savage. Super happy, fun time, positive chat, so Google approves it. Yay! Anyway, so I've waxed on long enough. The video's up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Didn't they say that white people have no culture?
Well, yeah, I've heard that several times too. That white people have no culture, but then travel to Russia or Albania or Norway for fuck's sake. You want to talk about culture's not defined by skin color or restricted there too or anything. Anyway, you can have a Black Irishman for fuck's sake. It doesn't. Anyway, so yeah, that kind of stuff. And she's very, very happy and smug about telling us all about how everybody should be considered based on race and everything else. And it's just another example of, I just imagine someone saying these same things. And Satsu says this all the time. You just take the words and flip them around. And what do you get? If a white person had been talking about Black people in this way 50 years ago, it would have fit right in, But we don't think that way anymore, or we try not to. I thought we were trying to move away from that. But no, this is being taught and encouraged in schools right now. And I know that's no big shocker to anybody who listens to us, but all the same, it still disheartens me. Thank you, Sanguine. First off, wait, I thought their line was whites don't have culture, ergo it can't be appropriated. And yeah, nations have culture, races don't. Yes. Yeah, it's true.
I don't think that's true. I've met a few Black people, and they're all exactly alike. They do the same things. And I've seen National Geographic footage of like Black people in Africa living tribal existence, and that is exactly how Black people here are.
Satsu,
they're all
rebuttal?
identical.
He's right. I just looked.
Okay.
Satsu is living in a grass hut right now.
I'm currently punching trees as we speak.
Is that how you get wood to build your house?
Yeah, that is exactly how it works.
That is exactly how it works.
It's like they've never actually met Black people.
Well, here's the thing. They don't actually talk to Black people. And if they do, it's always the ones that are just like, it's always the militant, hey, white person, go sacrifice yourself for me, Blacks. So, according to the stories that they tell them, as this Black person wakes up in their nice house and goes and does whatever it is they want to throughout the day, they get around their white friend and they're just like, hey, man, I just got whipped for like 3 hours today, and I had to pick a whole bunch of cotton, and life is just really terrible, and the police followed me everywhere I went, and there's not a moment where I ever live and get to do anything I ever want. It's all horrible. And they're like, oh, that's terrible. And they're like, yeah, go make yourself look like a dumbass for me. And they're like, I got you.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I'm sorry.
I was just going to say my well, I don't want to say favorite, but the part that really disturbed me the most out of her little diatribe was she talked in very proud tones about how in her class there are times where they will talk about oppressions and misdeeds of the past, and there are students who will say, well, I can't be held to account for that. That was an ancestor or people from hundreds of years ago or something. And she said she has students in the classroom who are ready to call out such denials.
So that's not a denial, that's fact.
Yeah, and I am paraphrasing there just slightly, but only by the thinnest of hairs. Watch the video. Yeah. Anyway, so I've gone on long enough. I tend to go on about my own stuff, but God knows
that's asinine.
Yeah, and And this is just a couple of segments from one interview. There's a whole channel full of this stuff, and I might go back there at another point. I don't want to, tread the same ground too often, but it's anyway. I'm done now. Video's available if you want to go watch it. It is a mind melter, so just a trigger warning. It will melt your brain. It almost melted mine. So, internet fuckatory. But first, thank you, Cryptic. Welp, Google just stole another donation to you. It did? What do you mean?
Didn't you have a problem? He had a problem with that one time.
Oh, did it like block because of something you were trying to say? Is that it? I don't know how it works.
No, like it disappeared or something, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, well, let me check my super chat log to see if it made it there real quick on the off chance. No, I don't see anything from Cryptic other than the one he just posted. So I don't know what happened. That's crazy.
The only fucketry I was paying attention to today was watching Ben Shapiro have a little shit fit on the Twitter machine because Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un and people are calling it historic. He actually said people who are calling this historic as a positive thing are just being partisan hacks. And when I read the first one, I'm like, all right, Ben is not a huge Trump fan. And then he had like a series of these tweets today. And it just struck me because I'm old enough to have been alive when Reagan first met with Gorbachev. That was in 1985. And I remember this same kind of shit. And it happened. There were people who were running around. This isn't historic. Nothing's happened yet. And that might be true. Nothing may come from any of this. But this is further than we've been in a long time with North Korea. And to downplay that, especially when it's coming from Ben, who looks more like he's just trying to set himself up to say, I told you so, rather than because he actually feels like something more needs done. Yeah. It just come off as completely dickish. This is where I don't like Ben, and it's where he comes off as this smug little shit who, if he was in your neighborhood, you'd probably want to punch.
Thank you, Dark Shade. Jim Carrey is also pitching a fit.
Well, it's amazing. This has united the far left with people like Ben Shapiro. We're like, nah, Trump didn't really do anything yet. He met with the leader of North Korea face to face. That is historic. That is something that has not happened for fucking decades.
Well, I know that fake I think it was like a Bill Maher post or whatever was going around talking about how he was pissed off about it. But I have seen people actually sharing that sentiment because they're saying meeting with a dictator is and also Now This put out a video talking about Trump legitimizing a dictator is not helping our country. By meeting with him, he's legitimizing it, and we know what he does to his people. But then those same people were trying to compare, Kim to Trump, talking about how he's better than Trump is. But they're meeting with him is legitimizing him.
Did you see the video that I retweeted? Did I actually retweeted or just comment? I don't remember. It's from CNN last night on Don Lemon's show, where Don Lemon says to one of the guests, I know you want to talk about, you want to bring this to a more serious topic or something like that, indicating, she wanted to have a deep discussion. And she actually says, wait, I want to get back to the menu for a minute. And she says that because the White House released the menu of the food that they served, it was legitimizing Un.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because that's what we do when we have like state dinners, and we have she actually used the when you have the French over, they release this. So it's legitimizing him just like they would do with anyone else, which is what he wants. And then the motherfucker sitting next to her goes, and don't you think the people in North Korea are going to read about this menu and they're going to hate it because you know how poor and hungry they are? Like they think Kim Jong-un is up there eating fucking half a bowl of rice a day like they are.
Well,
they know this motherfucker's eating well.
These criticisms, I think, are ultimately what prevented presidents previous from doing anything because meeting with him would have legitimized him. Now, I have no idea if anything will come from this that's actually productive. And no one else does either. But if you're going to try to talk down an insane, egotistical dictator with potentially catastrophic weapons at his disposal, where he's already shooting missiles over Japan and threatening the South and everything else, if you can leverage his ego against him to do something productive for the world and for the peace and security of that region, and not to incite some kind of world war or something, I'll tell you what, I would eat a little crow if the end result was a denuclearized North Korea. I don't think Trump has any problem taking a bunch of shit like this if it ends up doing something productive for the world. Now, meeting with dictators, no, it's not a good look. But you know what? Sometimes you have no fucking choice. That's the pragmatism of world politics, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Three-Sided Coin. Israel has an open-air prison, Gaza, and we pay them. Darkshade, thank you. Breaking news, Trump brings world peace. In other news, left still thinks Trump worse than Hitler with a Fallout 4 big boy. I mean, Fat Man? Yeah.
It's just insane to me. There was also, I think it was NBC during the question and answer time. They asked Trump, you once said that he's the most oppressive dictator in the world. Do you still stand by that? And it's a legitimate question, but it's kind of a dick question to ask here. Because all you're doing is trying to get the president to insult Un as they're having this historic meeting.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I've seen some people say shit like, I hope this goes bad. I hope Trump fucks up the meeting or whatever. I'm like, that means you might die, right? Like, are you literally hoping that he fails and something catastrophic happens?
Well, the perfect answer for Trump to give in that situation would be something to the effect of, this meeting today is his opportunity to change the minds of the world.
Yeah.
Something like that, because really the thing that will have if there's going to be any movement on getting anything done, and it is a shitty situation where you have to negotiate with someone as fucking evil as Kim Jong-un. I understand that, but again, the end result is more valuable than the amount of discomfort that might have to go through in the process to get there.
Well, what Trump answered was that that it's rough there, but it's rough in other places too.
That's a bad answer.
It was a bad answer, but it was a dumbass question to be asking in this instance. I mean, you have these people who just 6 months ago were wringing their hands about how Trump is going to give us World War III by calling Kim Jong-un Rocket Man. That's what the fucking narrative was.
Yep.
And now that he's actually making some movement, actually having conversations, it's, well, why aren't you treating this guy like an asshole? He'll still treat him like an asshole. He's still going to do what he does behind the scenes, but embarrassing him publicly is not going to help anything.
How dare you legitimize him by stopping calling him Rocket Man?
Like I said, they don't stand firm in literally anything that they believe in. So and that's why I said, like, I really dread the day that Trump is like, I hate pedophiles and fucking rapists.
Yeah.
Like, we need to take a stand against pedophiles and rapists and people who mutilate and murder children. And that is the day that the left, like not specifically the left, but the radical far left is going to be like, no, we need to stand for our fellow rapists and child mutilators.
We already saw that with MS-13.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't take much, but yeah, no, it's oh god, just the tribalism. Anything that the opposition does is always wrong and must be criticized. There's no possibility of there being any room for either a common purpose or compromise, or at least being a little bit objective and pragmatic about the situation. Like, what would they prefer? Hostilities and conflict with North Korea?
Yes.
Egging them on towards actual war? Trying to make put China into the position of having to stand up for North Korea against us? I mean, what the fuck do they want? I mean, it's one of those there's a term for it, and a mug's game or something. It's one of those things where there is no totally good or preferable outcome or decision to make in the situation. Catch-22. But like I say, I would rather there be less tension and less possibility of war than more. And if this is the route to do that, okay.
Well, they just want Trump out of office. That's it. They don't care what the consequences are or what has to happen. They don't care what he does. There's nothing he can do that will ever be good enough. The economy could be absolutely perfect. He could completely eliminate the mythical wage gap and force everybody to have the exact same pay in no matter what job. Like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing he can do to where they would be satisfied.
And I would just like to point out some of the people right now whining about Trump meeting with the dictator had no problem at all when Clinton met with Arafat, who's a fucking was a terrorist before he died.
Yeah.
So you can suck me. It has nothing to do with whether they think this is a good or not. They just don't want Trump to get credit.
And sometimes, whether you like it or not, you have to deal with people who are scummy because, unfortunately, they are the leaders of their own nations. It's never pleasant, it's never desirable, but if you have no other option, that is what's in front of you. And it doesn't say anything about the person representing the country having to meet with them, unless in this case, it wasn't like we were allying with North Korea on some kind of like joint mission or something. This was the US sitting down and saying, denuclearize or we're going to have more sanctions, and China's not going to be happy with you. I mean, we're painting them into a corner to try to do something that we all want them to do. It's not like we're going to become best friends with them or anything, unless or until they do something dramatically olive branch, but we'll see. Thank you, Cryptic. Since Kim is an Asian, is it a small dictator?
Yes.
And thank you, Sanguine. Any belief they have is only held so long as it can be used as a bludgeon. Their only steady belief is that anything is worth spitting in your enemy's eye. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that Shapiro said today is that if Obama had done this, people would be outraged. As was pointed out in chat, Obama basically ended tensions with Cuba. And while, yes, there were a few partisans who were like, fuck that. Most people were like, this is a good thing. The people of Cuba don't deserve to suffer for the dick that's in charge there, and they have been for way too long. And the same thing is happening in North Korea right now. And you know how you change minds? Look at what happened with Russia, for fuck's sake. The Gorbachev thing is a perfect historical reminder just because of what happened.
Yeah, and how much money disappeared in trying to pay off Iran again?
Oh, yeah.
From Obama's tenure, look, context matters, and sometimes you got to do some pretty shitty things in order to get some good done. But let's not pretend that there's any harps or halos on either side of the equation here. The after analysis of the decisions some world leaders make is going to be good or bad. This could turn out to be a big fiasco somehow. Trump could fuck it up or something else. We haven't gotten there yet, though. But like I say, I would rather we be doing things that would work towards a more peaceful situation on the back end than worrying about the optics on the front.
I'm just glad that Trump doesn't give a shit about that.
Thank you, Circus Zero. Trump just needs to come out and say that people hate him. That will make their heads explode trying to decide to agree with him or oppose him. I gotta say, I don't know how effective it'll be. I don't know how successful it'll be. But there is something to be said for having a president who knows he has nothing to lose in trying to make people like him. So, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, that turned into a deep topic that wasn't intended, but all the same, was fine. But I will end the deep topic time with the thing I came up with last week or whatever to try to mine advice columns for things to talk about briefly. So I have found this little story, and I won't read the advice that comes back from the actual columnist. I'll just look to the experts on social activity of Satsu and Monkey here. So here is the story. I'm a manager in charge of a division at my company. Drew, not their real name, one of the people I manage, uses a wheelchair. When first hired, Drew was told to ask if any accommodation was needed. He has never asked for any. Drew has mentioned being a paraplegic, but to my knowledge, he has not elaborated or said anything about how and when it happened. Drew is outgoing and popular. He gets along with everyone and is one of those people who has the gift of being able to talk to anyone. Drew's work has always been good, and I have never had a problem with him or anything he has done. Why I am writing to you? Not long ago, I saw a short film online about people who believe they are disabled but are actually not. Drew was in it. He is not a paraplegic and does not need a wheelchair. In the film, Drew walks and is clear that he is not paralyzed and has no actual need for a wheelchair, but uses it because he feels as though he was meant to be a paraplegic. It is for sure Drew, and it was recently made. At least one of the other people I manage has also seen it. She discreetly came to my office and mentioned it to me. I normally would never say anything about the private lives of the people I manage, but Drew comes to work in the chair and uses it full time and does mention being paralyzed. I am concerned the company may look bad if anyone finds out and says something. Is this even something I can talk to Drew about?
I'd fire his ass for lying.
Yeah, that could probably cause some issues.
He would have to prove that he was paraplegic and he can't do it.
Yeah, that would definitely cause some issues, because even if he wasn't really asking for any particular accommodations or anything, the workload that they give him and the things that he do throughout the day versus the workload he could probably accomplish if he wasn't in a damn wheelchair is definitely different. And they were most likely taking that into account when they scheduled them and everything. So, yeah.
So devil's advocate for a moment. If this is, like he was on this documentary, if this is effectively a mental illness, do you then cross into dangerous territory trying to punish someone because they are suffering from effectively a mental disorder or like a body dysmorphic type disorder?
How do you get body dysmorphic just because he wants to be something he's not?
I know, I don't know it off the top of my head. I know there is a medical psychological term for the idea that you believe you should be like missing a limb or something like that.
It's called crazy.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that. But again, if this is a symptom of a mental disorder that isn't otherwise affecting his workload, do you punish him for that? If he's let's say he's been diagnosed by someone as having this disorder, do you then punish him for that? Is he lying, or is he just, expressing his problem? Unfortunately, well, I guess the better question is, do you risk the legal liability of breaching that territory? Or would you?
I would.
Okay.
Frankly, people like that disturb me. One, okay, let's say he's pretending to be handicapped. I guarantee you he's using the handicap spot, which could be used for somebody else who's, actually fucking handicapped. And two, he's lied to you. Mm-hmm. And that's always a good reason to fire somebody. And three, he's obviously quite mentally disturbed, and I wouldn't want any of that around my business.
Satsu.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. See, I've worked on the manager level, but I don't think I've ever had any issues like that. I mean, any situations like that. It definitely is an issue, like the fact that he is lying or whatever. Because I mean, at the very least, if you're going to come into the company and you've been on a show that talks about the fact that you just think that you are, and this is a situation that you have, that's the type of shit that you kind of have to tell your employers. Like, that's information that you should relay to them. because if something happens, especially for liability reasons, like they're gonna need to know that shit.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I guess the point at which, if I were in charge, that I would have to make that decision is, aside from the lack of necessity to be in a wheelchair, at any point in the course of either his employment or anything else, did he take advantage of the company in such a way that would be considered fraud for being in a wheelchair but not needing to be in a wheelchair? Like, if I don't even, it doesn't even say what kind of work they're doing or anything else. I'm assuming it's some kind of office thing or otherwise. But did he ever require any concessions from the company special to his needs that were unnecessary or things like that? Did he effectively commit fraud either in his job application or in anything that he's demanded of the company in the meantime? If he'd done that, I would see that as a fireable offense, even if he has a mental disability to disclose.
Jeez.
What was that?
That's my phone.
Oh. Otherwise, if you can't point to something where his deception effectively harmed the company financially or otherwise, I don't know. You might be in lawsuit territory. Not that you wouldn't do it anywhere necessarily. That makes the biggest difference in the world, but that's a weird one.
Usually, what it comes down to is something that could happen. Yeah. It's not often like something that has already happened. It's like for liability reasons or whatever. Like there's certain things that we need to know about our workers. But in that situation is so unique though, where because I don't even know if that disorder or whatever it is like something that's widely enough recognized for there to be kind of exceptions.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanguine. Give him the same workload as everyone else and let him sink or swim. If he requests accommodations, have him show proof. I had to prove I was a spurg. Okay.
Yeah, well, that works too.
Thank you, James Colley. Oh, this is how you get around it. It's an integrity issue, which goes against most companies' employee guidelines. That's also true as well. Yeah. So anyway, interesting question to an advice columnist. Do you care to know what the person said?
Real quick, the other thing before you get to that, the other thing you could do is have a company meeting and play that video, and he'll quit out of shame.
So
yeah, I'm curious to know
this isn't okay. So this isn't actually an advice column to an individual. It's just they throw it out there, then they throw the question to, I don't know, a range of professionals. Allison Green of Ask a Manager, I didn't know there was such a thing, but okay, points out that this is tricky because Drew may have a condition called body integrity identity disorder, right? Quote, given that it's reasonably likely that there's a mental health disorder at play here, and given that it doesn't sound like it's impacting anyone's work, I'd leave it alone, she says.
Yeah.
I'm a...
Well, see, the problem is they didn't say if it impacted anybody's work.
Well, but the person said that, he's always got along with everyone and done whatever he needed. And when first hired, Drew was told to ask for any accommodation if he needed it. He has never asked for any.
Yeah, but there's a difference between not asking for accommodation and, well, I'm not putting Drew in this position because he's crippled and can't walk over there.
Right.
Just because somebody didn't ask for an accommodation doesn't mean none has been given.
Sure. All right. Well, guys, we're at the bottom of the hour, so the rest of the time is yours. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, anything else you'd like us to talk about or answer for you, put in the chat now. If you have a question for us directly, please put several question marks afterwards so we know that it's for us. And lots of comments on this one. Let's see. Judge Death says body integrity identity disorder closely related to somatoforiphrenia. Paraphrenia? I don't know how to say that. I assume that's another kind of mental disorder about the body. Let's see. Jenna P says, just don't understand why you would choose that life. And like Monkey said, so many people park in handicapped spots, then you can't get your chair out because no room for the ramp. Thank you, James Colley. Monkey, that can't be done because it's considered retaliation and creating a hostile work environment. Oh.
Not retaliation to show a video. I object, Your Honor.
Random American says, why do you guys open with the Jim Jones, etc. for every stream? Well, that's part of stream lore. There was a time early on in the show where sort of coincidentally or otherwise randomly, SDA and I would bring up, or news stories we talk about in some way, shape, or form would bring up Jim Jones, and this happened like 3 or 4 episodes in a row. And I think it was when a night came along where we didn't say anything about it, and somebody said, "Hey, you guys didn't mention Jim Jones tonight," and so we just sort of made it like, "Oh well, okay, Jim Jones," and then that just became part of the regular mantra. Everything else is kind of the same. Monkey Dick. There was a lot of episodes where Monkey's dick would come up, and then we didn't mention it one night, and people complained.
No. That one's slightly different. Somebody whined because I talked about my dick too much.
Oh, right. So you're just rubbing it in. You're rubbing your dick into the wound, as it were.
That's right. I'm rubbing my dick in their faces.
And the movies thing was because Monkey and I would, and still do from time to time, go off on movies and things, and it would kind of annoy SDA. So I think we just added it to sort of get it out of the way, sort of like alleviate it, I guess. So yeah, and everything else is sort of added on to it over time, like hit the like button and everything else. So it's sort of like the 12 Days of Christmas. We just keep adding on other things into the litany. So I'm sure we'll add something new on at some point, maybe.
You can start asking if Satsu's awake.
There you go. Stay woke, Satsu. Stay woke.
Well, somebody said that I was so woke that I fell asleep and needed to re-wake up again.
You were so woke you like hit the other end of the bell curve.
Yeah, it's like reset. I had to respec my skills.
Let's see. Academic Cubs says, Monkey, did you see the police in Virginia Beach busted a terror plot at a high school prom?
I did not.
I did not. Maybe that was in the MSS news story somewhere, but I didn't get to it. Terry Diamante says, Ranting Monkey, since you like compliments, you're my favorite middle-aged cripple with a monkey avatar that streams on YouTube.
Well, thank you.
There you go. That's high praise. Incel Casanova, when no one gets your references, should you accept you are getting old or apply for Jeopardy?
Neither. It's not necessarily the case either way.
Right. Because if you make a reference to someone who is a contemporary of your age, it just could be that you know something obscure that they don't. Like my sister could probably tell me a whole bunch of stuff about what was his name? The actor that she was obsessed with when she was younger. I suddenly forget his name. Anyway, like she'd know all this stuff about this guy, and I have no fucking idea because I was reading comic books. So, Satsu, what game at E3 are you least looking forward to? Says BG.
Least looking forward to? Shit. All those ones I forgot. Because there were some games I saw, and I'm just like, I guess if I had to pick one out of the list that I'm most looking forward to, that I'm least looking forward to, it would probably be at this point Kingdom Hearts. Because I feel so burned by Kingdom Hearts at this point that I'm not even excited for it to come out. Like, I'm glad it's finally coming out, but there's no hype or excitement at all. Like, and I don't even know if I'm gonna get it like when it drops. I'm just probably gonna wait until the price goes down and snatch it up or something. But I don't know. There's no excitement for getting that game the day of release.
Rich at Art, coincidentally enough, says, Satsu, should I play the first 2 Kingdom Hearts before the new one just to get caught up?
No. I mean, first of all, you can get the remastered or whatever, so you could, but it's not necessary. Just watch somebody play them. But I mean, if you really want to experience it, they're not bad games. Obviously, that's why they're so fucking popular. But there's a lot of filler in between those games that are like other side games that you would probably still have to play to catch up anyway. And yeah,
Harvest Marvel says, Scribe Light, have any of you seen Eon Flux? If so, what do you think of MTV apparently doing a reboot? I mean, no. I remember seeing Eon Flux when it didn't really have, when it was part of Liquid Television back on MTV back in the day, when it was just these little weird little shorts. I never saw the movie, thankfully, because it was I don't particularly care that they're doing a reboot. Is it an animated reboot or a live action? Because if it's animated, okay. But if it's live action, why bother? Data Wasteland says Rock Hudson. No, my sister was not obsessed with Rock Hudson. Sorry. If that's what you were talking about, I don't know. Red Chaos Tree says, do you think Florida is that much worse than the rest of the union, or just know that due to a law, the news is allowed to get all the stories versus other states not commenting for... I'm missing something there. I think the Florida Man meme has made focusing on Florida stories more entertaining for people in some ways. I mean, we obviously indulge in that quite a bit here. I don't think it's worse. I guess it depends on how you measure worse. I don't know what the quality of life index in Florida is versus anywhere else. So.
The whole Florida Man thing just started because they kept doing headlines that way.
Yeah, Florida Man, Florida Man, Florida Man.
There are fucking weirdos in every state. It's just fun to poke fun at Florida because their state looks like a droopy dick.
Backskin says, Ranting Monkey, did you see that Kim accepted Trump's invitation to visit the U.S.? Well, that'd be another historic thing if true.
I didn't, but that's cool. I did see somebody today who doesn't seem to understand how last names work in Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And they kept using un as they would use Trump. Like, that's just weird the way you're using it, dude.
You know how I had that explained to me one time by a friend of mine in school? He said, in China, family comes first.
Oh, there you go.
And I was like, that's a good way to think of it. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, Japanese names are like that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually weird. I found this out too. It is strange to call someone by their first name. Like, unless you know them like very closely or whatever, calling them, most of the people, and I found this out too, like watching anime. I'm like, oh, that character's name is this. And they're like, no, that's their last name. And I'm like, no, they call them that all the time. It's like, yeah, because they're supposed to.
The Jack motherfucking Cockring says, who had the better perm, Sebastian Bach or D. Schneider?
Oh, Bach.
Really? D. Schneider. Come on.
Oh, D's look like it had been burned.
Well, I mean, it was D. Schneider. If it looked burned, that might have been part of the aesthetic.
Yeah, I think it was the drugs and alcohol.
Okay. Jesse Defendant Fox says, what color lightsaber would you have? I would have cobalt blue. Like not Luke Skywalker blue, like a really rich royal blue.
I would go with blue as well. Satsu, not Satsu. Scribe, you can't have blue. You're Sith.
No, it wouldn't be Jedi blue. It'd be like dark, rich blue.
Oh, you get red, dude.
I want blue.
I believe I might have answered this question unintentionally a few days ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Rainbow for Pride Month, motherfucker.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. You want a prism lightsaber? Yeah,
it's gonna be white.
Oh. Yeah, you could get those in the Old Republic, Star Wars: The Old Republic online. You could find like black lightsaber crystals and white lightsaber crystals, or just buy them off of the cartel market for real money. You know what? Let's see. Data Wasteland says Ohio is America's nipple. If you say so. What else? Incel Casanova, who made the worst movie, D. Schneider or Rob Zombie? Well, I didn't know that D. Schneider made a movie. I know that he was in a movie. Was that Strangeland? I mean, Rob Zombie, it depends on which Rob Zombie movie you're talking about. If you're talking about House of a Thousand Corpses compared to Devil's Rejects, Devil's Rejects was great. It's a great movie just by itself. I wasn't that jazzed with his Halloween remakes, but What did D. Schneider make? Did he make Strangeland? I know he was in it.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
That's fine. That's why I'm here.
I are clueless.
Let's see. What else? Faith is Abdication. Did y'all see Flecka's Talks Gay Pride video? I don't know who Flecka's Talks is.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. This is Kyle says, do you guys play any instruments? My voice.
I do not.
An instrument.
Yeah, that's it. Jim Gila says he made Strangeland. Okay, yeah, it's Strangeland, man. That, I mean, it was. Its material was ahead of its time by a few years, a little bit, because it was effectively about a serial killer who sort of like roped his victims in using the internet and chat rooms and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was made back in like in the early 90s. Or no, it had to be like 97 or 90. Anyway, it was just on the cusp of the internet when that really wasn't anything anybody had sort of hyped at that point. And but it was bad. It was just a bad movie. RJ Bansman says, Scribe, you've won a 30-pound talking lobster named Harry, who also happens to be a Looney Tune. I'm thankful to the Academy, I guess. Gregory Hurst says, what do you think about Assassin's Creed Odyssey? They only have so many mythical-ish eras of human history to go to next, so Greek mythology seems just as well, I suppose.
It looks fun. Looks interesting enough. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a while, though.
I'm waiting for them to go to World War One era or something setting like that, because they've done ancient. They're doing ancient Greece now, or Roman or whatever. They've done Egypt. They've done the Crusades.
World War One, and the game starts when you kill Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah, actually, you know what would be an interesting plot is if the murder of Archduke Ferdinand was done by some kind of rival faction of the assassins in order to set things in motion, and then they have to try to somehow deal with the fallout. That'd be a good way to do it, is to work that into the lore. Let's see.
Until they get to the Kennedy assassination.
BG says, Scribe Light, most depressing film. Well, if you really want to make yourself sad, make a triple feature. Make a triple feature out of Requiem for a Dream, Leaving Las Vegas, and The Day After. Do you remember The Day After, Monkey?
It doesn't sound familiar.
You can watch this on a very popular video platform. If you just look it up, it's like a 1983 TV movie with Steve Guttenberg and a bunch of other people in it, and it's literally a what if right after a nuclear exchange between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. It's sort of like it's a bit of a dramatized version of like the right after Fallout, the game. It is depressing as fuck. and it's I mean, for a 1983 like ABC or something TV movie, it is dark. It's really dark. So yeah. Thank you, Timothy Seelbeck. The Day After sucked. Well, it wasn't meant to be a happy movie, and the production quality at the time was 1983 TV movie. I still appreciate it. I still thought it was some of the imagery and some of the things around it were still kind of disturbing. This is Kyle. What video game would you guys want turned into a movie or TV series?
I would love to see Mass Effect as a movie.
Okay.
It was such a good story.
I would love to see, even though it's not technically a video game first, I would really love to see a Vampire the Masquerade television series that isn't Kindred the Embraced. Like an actual Netflix series that actually used the source material and made an actual drama world building thing out of that, because I think it's ripe for that kind of use, but it just has never happened. And the underworld movies don't count. Satsu?
I don't know. I feel like we were asked this question before.
Probably.
Video games to turn into a movie? I don't know. Like, I'd like to see a Monster Hunter movie, but I would like it to be not really narrative driven. Like, I'd like a TV show that showcased like different hunters just like out doing shit that hunters do. You know what I mean? And in a more realistic way, like representations of things that you do in game, but shown in a more practical kind of, if this was actually taking place, this is how it would go, as opposed to like gameplay wise. I think that would be interesting to watch.
BG says, Scribe, I would be too afraid they would try to turn Vampire into a True Blood knockoff. If they treated Vampire the Masquerade like a sort of underscored Game of Thrones sort of struggle between clans and the secret lives and stuff, like Kindred the Embraced had elements to it that could have worked if it wasn't Aaron Spelling producing the thing. And so there, back then when there was no other kind of show like it at the time, it's kind of one of those, well, I'm glad it exists even if it's bad. But yeah, there's a lot of room there for something cool, but I doubt they'll ever do it. And I think the licensing on Vampire is so weird now after all the buy-ups and everything that they probably couldn't get it done.
I saw a thing the other day. There's actual talk of a new game being made finally.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Ever since they announced the World of Darkness MMO, and that completely tanked. I'm very dubious of any news I hear of a new Vampire RPG or something else. They've still been releasing books for the actual tabletop game. They've reissued the game system at a 20th anniversary edition and a new Dark Ages edition and everything else. And I may have donated to the Kickstarter for several of those things. So on the tabletop front, it's still going strong, which is really kind of remarkable given the age of the game. But in any other format, I'm always a little wary of anybody saying, "Oh yeah, they're going to do Vampire the Masquerade." Blah. Like, well, I'll believe it when I see it.
I forget who owns the rights now. But they were interviewed and asked about that specifically, and without being specific, yeah, they basically said, "Yeah, we're working on it, but it's nowhere near."
Yeah.
Let's
see. Stunlock says, Werewolf the Apocalypse is the White Wolf game that hopefully is good. Again, we'll see. Some of those are easier to adapt than others, and Werewolf could be, but we'll see. Let's see. What else? RJ Bands with Scribe, best impression of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. I never watched SpongeBob, so I have no idea.
You evil bastard.
Yeah, I know very little about SpongeBob. SpongeBob. Memes on the internet have told me more about SpongeBob than I know from actually ever watching the show or anything.
Man, I used to watch that shit religiously.
Yeah, things like SpongeBob, I just see as sort of like, I like Ren and Stimpy, and they did it better first, so I don't care. or Rocco's Modern Life, like anything else that's kind of like that, I feel is like a ripoff, sort of. I know people are going to castigate me for saying that about SpongeBob.
Well, when SpongeBob first came up, that's what I thought. It's like, oh, this is basically the new Rocco. But it is a better show. Rocco was. They pull off not unintentionally adult, but humor that the adults are going to get that children won't better than Rocco did. Rocco was less subtle about it.
Yeah.
Diesel Dave says, "What do you think of the SOA spinoff?" Sons of Anarchy spinoff?
I thought he meant SAO.
Well, if he says SOA, then I'm thinking of Sons of Anarchy. If he's meaning something else, I heard they were going to do one. Wasn't it a prequel?
It's a prequel with the original gang.
Yeah.
If it's still the one that they've been talking about since the show was on.
Yeah, I'm really curious as to like why. And if they're going to do a prequel to Sons of Anarchy, they need to do a sequel to The Shield. I want more Vic Mackey, goddammit.
The problem with this the spinoff with the prequel is that we already know what happened to a lot of the characters they're going to be talking about.
Right.
Which kills a lot of the suspense. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we got such a, and I even though I don't like Sons of Anarchy nearly as much as I like The Shield, I did watch every season and I did absorb what I could because it all takes place technically in the same universe. From the first, I remember watching the very first episode with my best friend at the time, and as soon as they started delving into the whole death of his father and how his mother and everything, my very first thought on that very first episode was, oh, this is Hamlet. The uncle effectively killed off the husband to marry the mom. It didn't turn out to be that, spoiler alert, technically. But that was the running theory for so long. And honestly, it seems to me that at some point they decided to sort of retcon what they had sort of established in the first couple seasons as to what had happened to his father, and change all that. But anyway, yeah, I don't know what a prequel series would accomplish except selling more motorcycles. Diesel Dave says, thank you. The one I heard about focused on the Aztecs. Okay, well, if they do it on a different group, something, and then just have sort of like interwoven with things that happened with the Sam Crow, then sure, I guess. I didn't know, were the Aztecs really popular sub story in SOA?
I no clue. I didn't much care for them.
Oh. Thank you, James Colley. Has anyone heard from Weibo today? I haven't, personally, but
on Twitter
since it was brought up, the spin-off, anybody interested, the spin-off to SAO is actually good. So if you want
what is SAO?
That's Sword Art Online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it is actually very enjoyable. All of the major issues that was going on with the original that people had a problem with are mostly fixed. It's an interesting story with interesting characters, and they're not all fucking disgusting, horrible humans.
Correction. It was the Mayans, not the Aztecs. Right, the Mayans. Yeah, because of the Mayans, and then there were so you had Sam Crow, the Mayans. God, what was the other ones? There was another gang, was like the Devils or something. God, I watched all the seasons of that show, but only so much actually got absorbed because it was all over the place. But The Shield is way better. Anybody who hasn't seen The Shield, I'll say it again. Best television show ever made. Great. Every episode mattered. Things that happened in season 2 that were one-off lines became big deals, and like season 5 was great.
Good. I was going to respond to Stunlock. Stunlock said the issues that people had with the original, you mean that it was fucking garbage with no redeemable qualities? No, SAO was not totally garbage with no redeemable qualities. It became totally garbage with no redeemable qualities. Once they established that this game, because the basic story is there's a game that you get pulled into. It's an online MMO. And when you die in the game, you actually die in real life. But the moment they established in the show that none of the characters that you care about were going to die, then that's when everything was just like, oh, okay, now I see what kind of show this is going to be. And everything went to shit from there. Other than that, it was fairly good for the most part. But once they established that, it was over.
All right, guys, we are just about the top of the hour. Good night, Stargazer Nuts.
Nuts.
So, as usual, tomorrow night we will be on Monkey's channel, the regular time.
In my place.
Satsu, immediately after this stream, is going to go to bed and get some sleep.
He's not.
Yeah, probably not. He's now he's going to play Sword Art Online because he got a boner for it just talking about it.
No, the games are terrible.
Okay. Let's see. Anything else to remind before we sign off for the evening?
Nothing that comes to mind.
Okay. Let's see. Are we doing a movie thing this weekend, Monkey?
I'm not sure what's going on this weekend. I'm gonna have Little Butt.
Okay. Well, we'll play it by ear, depending. But other than that, everyone, thank you so much for coming out to join us every night, as you always do. You are the best audience on the internet, if not the entire world. Thank you, moderators, for keeping an eye on things, even though our audience is relatively well behaved for the Looney Tunes that you all are. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. As always, I'm humbled by it, and I appreciate it very much. And with that, Satsu, Monkey, thank you for joining me as always.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, your lives make us sad. We will see you tomorrow.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.